celebrated 2026 rolling in Times Square.
I don't know how he's still doing that, by the way. They went right to him after the coverage. I mean, I don't know what you're still doing out there, Ryan, but good for you. Probably something to do with the money.
Also, how are we going to call this Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve now forever?
I guess.
Does Dick Clark own it always, or is there a time where it's going to be Ryan Seacrest's Rockin' Eve with Aaron Goldhammer and Amber Wilson, like where you and I will take over and Ryan will slide out? I don't know what 2026 is going to bring for the Cleveland Browns, but Jeremy Fowler had an interesting report of ESPN yesterday. The perception, first of all, around here, just being here, Amber, is that Kevin Stefanski is going to be coaching his last game with the Browns on Sunday. That's not definitive. It's just the vibe. And that might be as much because Kevin Stefanski is ready to move on as it is the Browns being ready to move on. Stefanski was asked earlier this week whether he still wanted to continue, and he said something to the effect of, I'm privileged to have this job, which isn't necessarily yes, which is an easy answer to just give. There's also the possibility, I guess now, of Mike McDaniel, who you know, down in South Florida, the Browns being interested in him. What do you make of a potential change where I am in Cleveland?
Well, since Cleveland has had such a difficult run here, even with a coach like Stefanski, who was coach of the year at one point, what they should do
at 2 points, he was
right. Well, that's true. At 2 points, that's good out of you. So what they should do is then turn to the coach who's never won either of those awards. They should turn to the guy who isn't proven in any way. They should probably turn to the guy who doesn't have a single postseason win as a head coach on his resume. I have no idea where this story came from. And here's the deal with Mike McDaniel in Miami. I don't think that he has completely fallen out of favor, because I do think that there is this overwhelming sentiment that it's not necessarily McDaniel, it's more the personnel, it's Tua, it was the general manager, and we did see them move on from Chris Greer during the season. So I do think in Miami, if they're retaining Mike McDaniel's services, which all signs point to they're going to, unless I guess they're trading him to Cleveland, I don't think Dolphins fans will be upset about that. I think for Dolphins fans, it's more about where do we go from here from a general manager and personnel standpoint, and then we'll evaluate Mike McDaniel moving forward. So I don't think that they're completely done with McDaniel from a fan base perspective. I just do not understand, though, how that's going to appease Cleveland Browns fans. Like, I'm not down on McDaniel, but at the same time, if you're a Browns fan, you can't go from Stefanski to something completely unproven that hasn't actually accomplished anything as a head coach.
And Amber, there are certain coaches that fit certain markets and certain teams and certain divisions, okay? I know Steeler fan is mad at Mike Tomlin right now. He fits Pittsburgh. He is Pittsburgh, right? Mike McDaniel and Cleveland might be the strangest fit of a coach and a team that you could possibly. You can't wear sunglasses and jogging pants on the sideline when it's -5 degrees in an AFC North matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, the two things just don't go together at all.
In fairness to Coach, though, he adopted all that swag when he became very Miami. So could he adopt whatever that version of Cleveland swag is? I don't know what you guys are doing over there in Ohio. It probably involves a lot more clothing, though.
Or some Browns players like to take clothes off the colder that it gets just to show how tough they are.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Nobody is impressed. Okay, nobody is impressed that you're playing without sleeves when it's 19 degrees. Like, nobody thinks you're more of a man.
It's a game of toughness, Amber, and if the cold scares you, then you don't belong on the shores of Lake Erie. I think if you replace Stefanski with McDaniel, I don't know how anybody could present that as an upgrade. Stefanski has not had a last good couple of years here in Cleveland, but I don't know if you've checked. McDaniel hasn't had a very good last couple of years in Miami. I'm with you. I think McDaniel likely continues as coach of the Dolphins. And I think the Browns are going to make a change. Where they turn, though, is going to be fascinating, Amber, because there is no Ben Johnson. There is no Mike Vrabel on this coaching market. And when they go and hire an unproven coordinator, look, I'm not going to crush that move because we all made fun of Liam Cohn, right? And he goes, Duval. And everybody thinks, oh, who is this weirdo that they – okay, here he is. Now they're about to win their division. It looks like a great hire.
He should win Coach of the Year, even though he won't because Jags, but he should.
But to win in Jacksonville is no easy feat, and he's awesome.
Duval.
Mike McDaniels
kind of slaps now that I'm hearing it again, and also I know he's good.
Duval.
With 12 wins in his back pocket, all of a sudden we're all chanting Duval.
Right.
When you hire an unproven coordinator, it could be great. It could also be what Aaron Glenn has been for the first year with the Jets. So I'm going to try, and please hold me accountable to this, Amber. If they move on from Stefanski and they hire some coordinator who most people have never heard of, okay, I'm not going to blow up that move until I see how it actually plays out. But I just wonder how you could position it as an upgrade is all I'm asking. Based on a guy who's won 2 Coach of the Year awards and, has in a market where winning has been really, really hard, not exactly, been Andy Reid, but he hasn't exactly been Hugh Jackson here either.
Right. It's not an upgrade. It's a change. And I think that that's probably what your market is looking for. Now, I think that's a dangerous game to play because if you're not upgrading, then certainly you could be downgrading or it could just be a lateral move. And will the change in the coaching staff be the answer when really what you need is a quarterback? And what can any coach, no matter how good, do when he doesn't have a quarterback? Like you're talking about Jacksonville. Well, yeah, but, Trevor Lawrence turns out to be okay, pretty okay, right? And so if you're able to take over a team in that situation, and that's just not the situation that the Cleveland Browns are in. If I'm Cleveland, I'm not moving on from Stefanski, but I do understand why the sentiment there at this point is frustration. In Steeler Nation, it's ridiculous. They want to get rid of Mike Tomlin, and he's going to be such a hot candidate if they did around the entire NFL. He'd had another job in 2 seconds. In the Browns situation, I do understand the frustration because I think the fan base is just so desperate for anything that they're willing to try any sort of change to try to accomplish a step forward. It's just a question of, is that really the change that even needs to be made to take a step forward? I wouldn't have much confidence that a new coaching staff is going to be the answer when I think really it's the personnel and offense that's such a major issue.
Amber, I don't disagree with anything you said, but the record matters. Stefanski is 7-26 in the last 2 years.
Would he get another job right away, you think?
No, not as a head coach. I know that Stefanski's agent wants you to believe that. There's a lot of scuttlebutt out there about,
scuttlebutt.
What a hot candidate Kevin Stefanski would be on the market. And I like Kevin. I don't mean this to come across as but the record is what it is. And I think it's really hard to present him. You would really push that 2-time Coach of the Year award narrative over what the record has been the last 2 years. The record reflects poorly on the coach, the offense here, Amber. He's an offensive coach, and when they get to 13 points, they give away free chicken nuggets. It feels like at Browns games. You shouldn't be getting excited about just getting to 20 because the good teams in this league score 30. Is some of that quarterback related? Sure. Is part of the reason Stefanski wants out because they've saddled him with a bunch of terrible quarterbacks and awful QB situations? I'm sure it is. But also, being close to this and watching every game, Stefanski is not blameless for the 7-26 record the last couple of years. I think the Browns will make a change. Speaking of making changes, boy, there might be face of the franchise quarterbacks on the move this offseason. Amber and I have a couple theories on that we will let